All right. Welcome and welcome everyone to tonight. This is our weekly meeting. We meet Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central. So that's the set time. So wherever you are in the world, just put that on your calendar. Just search for the, USA, I think Chicago time, and just keep that set. And then whatever the time changes are, you'll be able to still get on at the right time. Okay, it's just hard to keep track now because our team is so big. We're in about 17 countries, and people who are not able to come, they watch the recording. So most of the time I try to record it. Sometimes I like to get deep and meaningful and personal, so I don't record it. So if you can make it, that'd be great. We have beautiful people from Cambodia, and sometimes our friend has to get up at 3 a.m. to join us. But yeah, it's the nature of our business, right? We have people all over, and we have beautiful, dedicated people that just make it anyways. All right. So last week we started talking about the body systems. Okay, we have the reflex points, and we have the literal language of the body chart. If we get time, we'll go through that. But we haven't ever gone through each of the body systems. So we did 6 body systems last week. So that's part 1. All right. So we're going to go through another bunch today. So that's 8 body systems. Okay. The reason why we want to talk about this is so that we understand the body better. We understand what the body is telling us, and we understand how to change. The most powerful thing we can do is to identify what we're thinking and believing on the subconscious level, and then using our power of choice to change what we think and believe, okay, to align ourselves more with our divine nature so that we can heal and be able to find more happiness, okay, a greater level of happiness. So a lot of my friends here on the call have been familiar with energy balancing with faith. Basically, what we do is just read the body, read the emotions, and get all the clues we can so that we can develop ourselves into more powerful beings, okay? Change the subconscious programming to more positive programming. So, in essence, just, talk back to that negative self-talk and then condition ourselves again. And when we do that, we're happier, we're more empowered, we're more successful, we have better relationships, better health, the lot. Okay, so that's the whole point of why we're here. We don't want to be repeating the same patterns, and we don't want to be especially repeating the inherited stuff from our families. Okay, so even if you have inherited genetic stuff, let's see if we can change it. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to get started, but before I do, any questions? Okay, and you can always type in the chat as well. All right, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear your comments, even if it's like, yay, thank you, that makes sense, or whatever, or please explain more. All right, that will help me too, so I don't have to be feeling like I'm talking to myself. All right, so we went through the circulatory system, the limbic system, the digestive system, endocrine system, integumentary system, and immune system. Okay, so that's last week, and that's the part 1. So today we're going to talk about the muscular system. Okay, so of course the muscular system enables us to move using our muscles. All right, so if we have muscle problems, we have motor neuron disorders, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and, you know, other diseases, other fancy names that link to muscles. Okay. So we have lots of good oils that we can use for the muscles. Of course, your deep blue, your copaiba, lemongrass, any oils that help with the muscular pains. You can look at that up. So you can apply that, but I don't want people to necessarily be symptom managing all the time. I want people to understand themselves on an energetic level so that we can make changes. Okay, that's where we have our power. All right, so energetically, the muscular system is about strength, your belief about strength. Okay, your belief about connection. Because when we are connected with other humans, we have strength, right? Your belief about how protected you are, your belief about your own power, about your flexibility. Oops, let me just mute there. Okay. And about I mentioned flexibility and containment, like how you master yourself. Okay. So we can believe that the world is scary, that we're not strong enough, that we're too weak, that we're alone. Okay. So, you know, list those things out and, you know, you can muscle test it or you can feel intuitively, you know, what it is that's holding you back and causing weak muscles. Yeah. Okay. Any questions or comments on the muscular system?
So would this even be like after you work out, like after you go for a run and hasn't been a while, and which now that I'm saying it, I totally think so. Like I'm feeling like, yes, that would be so, because if you know, be starting something new and maybe wouldn't feel that strength. But what do you think?
Yeah. If it's just like a temporary thing, it's not too big of a deal. But if it's like, I worked out like, you know, last week and my muscle still hurts, right? Then it's sort of like, oh, let me see if it's something in my belief system, right? That, you know, I don't believe that I'm strong enough. That would be me, right? I usually think that and have to clear away things. You know, even in my childhood, you know, smallest, the weakest kid, can't even throw a ball. Was trying to, you know, my cousin threw a ball and you know how they throw it strong, you know, and it hit me and I'm like, can't breathe. And I'm like, I'm going to get you back. And then I throw it back and I went onto the ground. I'm like, why am I so weak? I'm like, these muscles. So, you know, just little things like that. I have to go back in time and go, okay, you're strong enough, you can do it, you know, talk to my old self. And then it kind of helps you as you get older to kind of apply that strength in other areas too. Okay, so when people are tall and big, sometimes my subconscious says, they're too big and scary, right? And so I have to go back and recondition myself and say, no, with God, I'm strong enough too. Hello, me too. So yeah, just, you know, it can't hurt to like muscle test and to find out. And if it's nothing there, there's nothing there. But it might be there. And, you know, it gives you an opportunity to recondition yourself, right? Yeah. All right, so ready to move on? Okay, the nervous system is next. All right, so if you have the workbook, so I have the workbook for my energy balancing course. You don't have to have it, but it has a list of the different systems in the book somewhere. Okay, so I'm here. Okay, in my course. Okay, and so you can fill it out if you like. So in the latest edition, it's on page 80. Okay. If you don't, that's fine. If you have access to my course, you can print out those pages as well. All right, just go into the course and then just download the workbook. All right, so nervous system. The nervous system collects information and it processes information. And it goes through nerves and it goes to your brains. It tells your muscles to contract or to release. Okay, and it helps with physical actions. So if you have issues with nervous system, we might have cancer, we might have seizures, epilepsy, spina bifida, MS, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and other diseases that are in between. Okay, so energetically, oils. You can use oils that help with the nervous system, which is patchouli. We have frankincense. We have copaiba. So those would be my go-to. Okay.
Yes. I picked a card yesterday and it was patchouli. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely think there's something going on there.
What do you think it is?
I feel like I've been physically really good most of the lockdown, but I think in the last week or two, you know, since we've had a bit more freedom, I've been feeling bloated, and I feel like I need to, I guess, energetically protect myself from other people. And so I feel like I need protection, which is why I picked Stronger. Just after talking about it with Jen, I picked Stronger. We're like, whoa, you know. So I think it goes hand in hand that I feel like, why is my body this way?
Yeah.
And I don't want to hate you, but I'm like, why? You know?
Yeah, I don't want to hate you. It's okay.
Like, why? What is this belly?
What's this bloating?
Yeah.
Trying to love my body.
And I think I read that bloating, I guess, is about like holding things in, like not wanting to, I guess, step on other people's toes, in the sense where it's like you can do you and I do me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's all that holding in, bloating stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like normal for the most part, like it just regularly like me, except just the belly is round. Digesting properly and everything. But yeah, so I definitely feel like it's a need for protection. You know, I feel like I need to, I guess, kind of hold myself back a bit. That makes sense.
Yep. So when I explain it, it will make a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So what Jamie is talking about is I have these oil cards and then she just likes to pick them, right? And if you just pick one, right? So it'll talk about the oils, right? How to use it. And in the back, there's affirmations. Okay, so it kind of helps you start to recondition yourself, because we have this negative self-talk and it goes on auto, and sometimes we don't even know that it's doing that, and then it creates a lot of stuff in our lives. So instead we're going to own it and, you know, own our power, and then, you know, really master the self-talk. So patchouli helps connect the mind and the body. Okay, so so we're talking about the nervous system. It's about the connection of the mind and the body. Okay, so your mind can think one way and your body wants something else. Okay, or more like the heart, right? And then we override what our body wants with what we think, right? Or we think, oh, like Jamie, maybe I'm trying to need to please these people, need to take care of these other people, but really I don't want to do that. My heart says, you know, and then it just, you let people in and you let people like control you, and you're not protecting your agency, you're not protecting you know, your integrity. Okay, so this is about, you know, communication between your body and your mind being really aligned, knowing exactly what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And sometimes people say, well, I'm confused. I don't know. I never know. I'm always indecisive. Yes, right. But we can change that over time when you connect more with the mind and the body until you align yourself some more. Okay. Yep, Jamie.
So I'm not conflicted with what I believe. And I'm so firmly so that nothing people say can change my mind. However, I do feel like really uncomfortable when I feel like when I hear that my friends and my family are like attacked. And I think that I know myself like so well that I feel like I'm nervous if someone attacks me. It's like a preemptive like feeling, because I think I had always had this, I guess, like I've never been good at being attacked. You know, I'm like, if someone writes something to me and I have a bit of time to think about it, I'm like, my comeback's like awesome. But you know, if someone says something to me and I just felt like stabbed, then I don't know what to do. You know, does that make sense?
For sure. We're not used to, you know, going and being aggressive. We're used to peacemaking, and so we don't, you know, this boundary where when that happens, it doesn't hurt, you know, because we take it in and just kind of allow it because we want to please people. So that's the balance, and that this is about the victor and victim mentality. This is about personal power. So, you know, it's not too severe. You know, obviously, you know, you don't have a disease that is affecting your nervous system, right? But sometimes we just need to just get the tiny whispering messages, you know, and just nip it in the bud. So we don't need to.
It's definitely from childhood, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when my older brother picks on me.
Yeah, and to go back to that kid.
It's always about him. It's all his fault.
Yeah. I have to tell you guys stories about Jamie one day. It's so funny. Yeah. So I think that's just an invitation to just go back, figure that out, rewrite that. You know, I'm strong. I'm stronger than my brother. I can say no, right? Yeah. So that's your.
It's the feeling that your way older brother will pick on you, and you will fight back no matter what, even if you know you're gonna lose.
Yep, there you go.
And it's that feeling like I'm gonna fight anyway, but I'm gonna lose.
Yeah, and we are on the winning team, actually. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I do need to change that. Feeling.
Yeah. So when it's not just that, it's like you approaching your business, you approaching, you know, parenthood, you approaching life in general. It's like, hey, I can do this. I'm bigger than you. Right, I can do it. All right. So
sorry guys, I just wanted to think that's really interesting what Jamie is saying, because I was the eldest in our family, but my youngest daughter, so her big sister, I never realized until you just said that she is ready to fight anyone because her big sister picks on her. Like, she hassles her. And I often watch them and, you know, I don't try not to get in, but I'm going to have to be really aware of that, because she is ready for you to have a go at her, no matter what you say sometimes.
Yeah. Lucky for Jamie, her big sister didn't do that. But we had the brother in between that did that. So because I wasn't around all the time. So anyways.
Roz, can I just answer, Roz? I also have two girls, and they're always ready to fight back with each other. And every time that happens, I remember my feelings that I used to feel. So I always have to explain to them, look, if you're going to fight back and you're going to react to it, you're just giving your power away.
Mhm.
So what do you really feel about this situation? And, you know, what is it that you believe about yourself that makes you want to justify or need to get that person to feel the same way as you? And I feel like history kind of like repeats itself because it's like part of your family. So I'm like straight on that, you know, I'm like, look, do not react because the bullies will come back for you.
Yeah. Oh, so funny. Jamie's youngest is 5 and they're learning that skill now. So that's exciting. That's really good for them. Yep. All right, guys, let's move to the renal system, urinary system. Okay, this has to do with the kidneys filtering the blood to produce urine. Okay, so of course it affects the, you know, bladder, kidneys, kidney failure, kidney stones, UTI. Okay, so good oils for that is juniper berry, geranium. You can do zendocrine. Okay, so those are good oils to start with. And energetically, it's about feeling safe, survival, ability to let go, feeling a fear of the unknown. It's about being pissed off. Okay, so work on that one. Okay, got that? So that's pretty simple and straightforward. All right, so the next one is the reproductive system. Of course, it affects all the sex organs, okay? And it's required to produce offspring. So of course, you know, any health issues that is related to those organs, sexual dysfunction, endometriosis, cervical cancer, HIV, polycystic ovarian syndrome, any sort of ovarian disease, fibroids, body weight, excess body weight or underweight, early menopause, breast tissue issues, infertility, testicular disorders, osteoporosis, hot flashes, fatigue, depression. Okay, so there's a lot there. And of course, you can use your clary calm, your clary sage, your whisper, the thyme oil. Okay, is good for the testosterone. All right. Energetically, this is about being creative, about ambition, relationships, connections, security, feeling self-worth, productivity, responsibility. Okay. False belief that you aren't able to have the power to create. Okay. Like create your happiness, create your life.
Hey, Jade. So this is whenever I am pregnant, I am always super, or I used to be, I should say, just super, super nauseous all the time and throwing up and all of that kind of thing. And I had I definitely resolved a lot of victim stuff, because victims, you know, people who identify as a victim, they have a hard time creating, because they're just trying to defend themselves. You know what I mean? Like they're always attacked, and you can't create if you're being attacked. Mm-hmm. And this is just something that I have felt ring true for me. And that is, whenever I was so nauseous all the time, it's because I did not embrace my creative side. I didn't even honestly start dreaming until I didn't have dreams. Like I would sleep, but didn't even have dreams until actually recently. And once I was able to clear all of that, I realized that it was kind of a rejection because I was still a victim and I got pregnant and, you know, all this kind of thing. And usually my pregnancies were not planned pregnancies. And so, not that I wasn't grateful for every single one and am so grateful, but I just, as I started doing energy balancing and thinking about creation and thinking about becoming a creator and embracing our divine identity as a child of God, which, you know, God is a creator. And so we naturally are creators. It's really interesting whenever you kind of get into that and think about it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ashley. So it's about insecurity as well. Okay. It's just like one of the most fundamental emotions. You can talk about shame. Okay, there's shame there as well. So we can make sure we release the shame. And sometimes it's unnecessary. We just create it because we have a misunderstanding of the loving, caring nature of God. We're always beating ourselves up. We're always being hard on ourselves unnecessarily. Okay. And then it causes us to just be so insecure and hold back from creating more happiness. Why? Why should we stay in this limitation? You know, we just don't see the way out. Okay. Any questions or comments there? You know, this goes for men and women. I did a session on a guy yesterday, and he had testicular cancer. And, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm kind of happy. Yeah, I'm content, I guess. But I said, are you really? He's like, what? What do you mean? You know, like, do you feel? And he says, well, no, I don't feel. Right? He just says, you know, when something's wrong, I know that I have to do some energy balancing, energy healing. So I just find somebody to just work on me. And he said, what you do with me is going to be different because I'm going to require you to have an active participation. You're not going to be there passive, me waving my hands and saying clear, clear work and clearing and adjusting chakras and auras and stuff. I don't do that. I'll tell you why you've created what you've created so you can undo it. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. Jamie?
I don't know much about men's hormones, but what are like some of the symptoms that they may have if their hormones are imbalanced?
I'm not quite sure, but I feel like it's almost the same as us.
Moodiness and things?
Yeah, yeah. So when you don't eat right, when you don't sleep well, your brain doesn't balance the hormones. So it goes for both men and women. Yeah. And, you know, the men that I worked on feels the same way. There's just inability to create, to protect, you know, same thing. Yeah. All right. So those are the things we can think about. But just remember, there's a lot of shame, and that's unnecessary, right? As you work on the reproductive system, a lot of it has to do with the childhood stuff, childhood shame. Okay, unnecessary punishment for every little itty bitty bitty problem that we have because we have a misunderstanding of the nature of God. God's not this, you know, angry person that kind of punishes you left, right, and center. Okay, so the next one is the respiratory system, and that's about your lungs, about its ability to absorb oxygen and to remove carbon dioxide. So asthma, lung disease, RSV, bronchitis, CPOD, colds, flus, coughs, pneumonia, and all the other things in between. Okay, so we have oils like lime, cypress, the breathe or the easy air. We have peppermint, eucalyptus. Those are great oils for the respiratory system. You can apply it on the bottom of your feet. You can apply it on your chest and your back and just cup it over your nose and mouth and inhale. Okay. But what you want to do is to look at the emotions, okay, or the energy of it. And it's about your perception, your reality of life. Okay. So your lenses might be, you know, that you have a lot of limitations, that there's a lot of things blocking your way, so you can't live life fully. Okay, I want this, but, and then you just list out all the buts. Not trusting in life, not taking advantage of life. So when there's opportunities that come your way, do you say, yeah, give it to me? Or do you say, I can't, because let me come up with lots of ideas why I can't move forward faster, right? So we can't breathe in the life that we want, because we make up all of these blocks and limitations. We don't allow ourselves to live life with passion. We settle for mediocrity. This is how it is. Got kids, and so I have to work hard, and you know, got to pay the bills, and you know, just boring stuff that we say to ourselves. Instead, we say, "Hey, I got kids, but we can travel. I got kids, and it's going to be better than not having kids. I've got, you know, I've got these opportunities. I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to live my life fully." You know, like I tell a lot of my friends, what do you want? And sometimes they don't know what they want. Okay, how much do you want to earn? I don't know, more, you know, exactly how much? How many days do you want to work? When do you want to start work? How do you want to work? How do you want the universe to provide for you? Okay, Jamie?
I want to share two stories.
Yeah.
One is that I have a friend that absolutely loves minty oils. And one day she asked me, what does it mean when I like minty oils? And I was saying to her, you know, perhaps you're feeling heavy-hearted, or perhaps you don't live your life fully. And she was like, what do you mean? And then I said to her, look, do you hold yourself back from, say, enjoying a meal out because you feel like that's too expensive, that you can make it at home, you know? And a lot of these little things that she does is just because she feels like I need to be a responsible person, so I shouldn't be enjoying that because then it makes me a bad person. You know, it makes me a bad Catholic or whatever. And she just open mouth stared at me for a while, because she was like, yeah, that does sound like me. And she goes, my mom said to me that I can't enjoy these things because I'm selfish, a selfish religious person, if I am happy. You know, if I spend money, then I'm a bad person because I should be using it, I don't know, in a practical way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one story of my friend.
Yeah.
And I think because she's constantly talking about mints, constantly bringing up how she can enjoy life more, and not because she thinks that's how she should be. And my other friend, who had a baby very, very premature, and he was like 900 grams. She had barely kept him in her tummy for 7 months, barely, like, oh yeah. In fact, she lost her mucus plug at like 5 months.
Oh no.
Yeah. And so he has like a lot of complications. They had to cut her up really wide because he was so fragile that, you know, they didn't want to pierce his skin or anything while they were taking him out. But he's beautiful now. You know, he's 7-8 months now, and you know, it's quite solid and everything. But she tells me that he still has lung issues. And just like you were explaining earlier about being scared of life, you know, being worried about leaving and all that. And it just also resonated in his situation with what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
So I think it's so accurate.
Mhm.
Yeah, and hopefully soon, you know, he'll be strong.
Mhm.
And his mama uses oils and stuff too.
Mhm.
So it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So I love those stories, Jamie. Thank you so much for sharing that. We just, you know, sometimes we think that the way we're thinking is right, but our energy is programmed and rigged for joy. So it's not our opinion that they need to live greater and better. It's the whole body. The spirit says, you know, we're not balanced. You know, we need to have more joy. We need to take more risk. We don't need to be such a martyr and so unnecessary. We don't need to be so scared of life. We can take a little bit more risk. And, you know, let's let go of that grief and let's let go of the sadness. Sometimes we feel like I did a session on a lady today. When her mum was pregnant with her, she was an oopsie baby, right? So grandma says, hey, you should have an abortion. The husband says, not the husband, the boyfriend said, you should have an abortion, you're only 19. And she was considering. And so we had to go all the way back to when she was in the womb and just let go of that grief and the feeling of, I don't deserve to live. And so when she worked it out, why she held herself back, why she won't let herself have greater joy, because she felt like she didn't deserve to live, you know. And so that subconscious thought and belief, it carries with you throughout your life. But if you pause enough, you know, just long enough to kind of hear what it is that you're really, really saying to yourself over and over again, it liberates. So at the end of the call, she was like, I feel lighter, Jade. I feel freer. I feel like, yeah, I can be happy now. Just so simple. And she's only 20, you know, and she was like, oh, I can't be happy because my mom's not happy. And you know, my grandma's not happy with me. And I'm not doing the right things. I'm not studying hard enough. I'm like, girlfriend, you're doing your very best. It looks like you're trying so hard already. You know, there's something else behind that is, you know, helping you find all these excuses, but they're not the real excuse. You know, the real excuse is deeper, and let's find out. And so we found out. I said, what happened when you were conceived, you know, around the time that you were in the womb? Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, it was an accident. Mom and dad weren't married. They were Catholic. They were ashamed. They were like, you know, bad. So anyways, I'm like, yeah, go back there. Okay, because God is loving. God is, you know, caring, and you know, you don't need to punish yourself like that. And that's the subconscious punishing. Okay. Anyways, this poor girl, she cried it out. It was just so beautiful to watch her. Seriously, I could not stop crying watching her cry. So here I am going through that with her. So yeah, respiratory system is not just about breathing. Okay, some people who never smoked a day in their life can have like lung issues. It's just because there's so much grief in there, and it could be generational. So we can figure that one out and release that. Something that we can do. Okay. All right. Next system is skeletal system, and of course that's about the bones and the structure of the body. Okay, and how it holds in the organs. So we've got spine issues, rib cage, limbs, pelvic issues. Sometimes it affects the metabolic bone disease, arthritis in some ways, and you know, your spinal curvatures. Okay, so we have the doTERRA bone nutrient, but we have oils that support the bones as well. Okay, so go ahead and look that up. There's plenty of oils that help with that. Mostly those are the oils that help with the muscles as well. Okay, energetically, this is about self-support, right? Strength again, confidence and courage. It about community, about being provided financially, about structure and your ability to receive help. Sometimes we think it's all on me and I have to do it all, and nobody out there is going to be able to help me. So I'm it. Okay. And then we have
Sounds like my 8-year-old. You know, I don't know why she says things like that when, you know, I do most of the stuff for her.
28. She thinks she's, you know, responsible
Yeah.
for everything.
Just because she has a younger sister.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I'm not strong enough. But also it's about structure, like things that, like your rules and stuff for yourself, you know.
She's a stickler for the rules.
Yeah. Yeah. So those rules have to kind of somehow, you have to believe that your rules will keep you strong. Okay. So have inspired rules and stick with those rules. Don't bend your rules. All right. So I tell people I have personal policies. These are the things I'd like to do. And, you know, try to not betray yourself in that way. Okay. Hematopoietic system, that's the blood system. Okay, with the organs and tissues that are involved in production of blood. And it helps with homeostasis. It helps, not homeostasis, homeostasis, which helps with the blood coagulation. Okay, stops our blood from bleeding, and then it helps with defending, hosting the defense against things. So in our blood, it can fight disease. Okay. So those issues, the blood issues can be leukemia, anemia, thalassemia, lymphomia, okay, any type of blood mutations. Okay. So energetically, it's about self-regulation, self-correction. So we're overcritical about ourselves, just allowing ourselves to have that right balance of self-correction without, you know, beating yourself up. Healthy boundaries again, self-acceptance, self-awareness, generational patterns, because blood is about, you know, inherited stuff. Burdened by family issues, family patterns.
As a child, Jade, I used to get bleeding noses all the time. All the time. I was always had a bleeding nose. I couldn't do anything like, but as I got older, I grew out of it. What would that be? Like, would it be because I inherited it and then I just eventually...
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. We have to kind of dig into that a little bit more. Yeah, just have to sit down and muscle test a little bit more.
Because, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, my daughter's best friend gets bleeding noses all the time, and she's 14. And she's had to, her mum, because I've spoken to them, and her mum took her to the doctor and they did some operation of fusing up through the nose to stop the bleeding noses. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm not qualified to say too much.
Yeah. Jamie?
I found the emotion related to bleeding nose, and it says feeling overlooked. So yeah, my niece gets that as well. She has 2 older brothers who needs more attention.
That's interesting.
That makes sense if you get older and then you have more attention and you're not the little one anymore. Yeah. So interesting. I've got a lot to learn there too. Yeah. Anyone else have questions or comments? Yeah, burdened by family issues, feeling weak, weakened. You know, that was me. I had the thalassemia trait. I felt like I was always tired. I didn't have enough energy because I was kind of pulled in so many directions. I needed to please all of these family members, and I felt responsible. It was just, you know, and I see my parents feeling responsible too. My dad is the oldest son of his family. My mum's oldest daughter of her family. And, you know, sometimes we feel responsible unnecessarily. Yeah. So we just need to take our energy back, focus on what we need to focus on, and show everyone else how to be happy. Because, you know, like this girl this morning, she was like, I can't be happy until mom and grandma and everyone else is happy, and feel bad if I'm happy. Yeah. Questions or comments? Okay. The last system is the endocannabinoid system. Okay. And it helps us have create homeostasis. It helps with cognitive processes. It helps with fertility, helps with pregnancy, it helps with appetite, pain sensation, it helps with mood and memory. All right, and it's linked to the nervous system. And by the way, all of these systems are linked to one another. They're not all separate. But when we talk about each one, it kind of gives us a direction of what to resolve and how to balance ourselves up again. All right. So, so the big hero for the endocannabinoid system is, of course, copaiba. Okay. And I think there's another couple, but I have to look it up for sure. All right, so energetically, it's again about the mind and the body connection, self-actualization, about processing, about self-awareness, sensory instructions, connection to your environment, feeling in control. It's about your power or agency, okay, about whether you have a victim or victor mentality. Self-sabotage, okay, any issues relating to the self-sabotage. Okay, and a feeling of disconnection to God, disconnection to your community. Does that make sense? Yep, and it causes a lot of pain and inflammation. Okay, so that's like neurodegenerative issues, diseases, Alzheimer's, Huntington's disease, ALS, MS. So, you know, it's just a good idea, you know, even if we have those diagnoses, to not own it. It's not part of your identity, it's just a diagnosis. And to also work on the emotional and spiritual side. Okay. It can only help, right? Let's not just do things passively. All right. Any questions or comments? All right. So just a last few minutes here. Have a look at this chart with me. Can you guys see that? Yep. And you can get this chart on my website, and people who have taken the course, it's in your books. Okay. So I feel like this is a blessing to us, that we can read the messages of our body. There's lots of opportunities for us to change. The religious word is repent, right? So we change so we can be happier. We change so we can be in alignment with our divine path. So look at the right side here. Right side's about masculine, giving, work, career. So the guy that I was working with yesterday, he's like, every time he has issues, it's normally on the right side. And I said, yeah, because here you were talking about your work, your business, okay, your success. So, you know, that tells you maybe you're leaning too far and thinking too much about that and worried too much about that. You're invited to tap into divine powers and ask for assistance in that area, so you're not doing it all on your own. Left side of the body is your feminine side, receiving your personal and family concerns. Yeah. Anything to do with the brain is impatient with self, holding on to limitations, overthinking, negativity, and controlling. So, guys, one thing I would invite you to do, though, is not be accusatory to your friends and family. So if they say, oh, I got a headache, you're like, well, you're thinking too much. Well, you're, you know, too controlling. You just invite them. Hey, let's have a look at this chart. See anything here that might resonate with you? It might be true for you. Are you this way? Are you overthinking lately? Are you being impatient? Let them discover it themselves. All right, so the very first thing people will do is resist and be contrary if they feel like you're making decisions for them. Got it? You know, sometimes, you know, I think when I was first new at this, I was like, oh, I know exactly what your problem is. So, and it kind of sounds accusatory. So instead, just invite people to discover it themselves. My husband had some back issues, and he was saying, oh, you know, I think I worked too hard in the garden, but I kept on hurting and hurting, you know, for over a week. So I said, hey, you know, honey, you know, you've already edited my book, so you know what the back's about, right? And he's like, yes, I do, right? And so let's leave it at that, you know, instead of like, you're this, you're that. Okay, eyes, right? Eyes is about not seeing truth or positivity and able to see things on a spiritual level. Okay, ears, not hearing love. So kids or adults that have earaches, you know, maybe they don't hear love. They choose not to hear love. One of my friends that she came to a class and she's like, what oils for earaches? And I said, oh, is it for a kid? Or, you know, and she's like, no, it's for me. And she said, I've had it for years. It just never goes away. I've had it for years. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so uncomfortable. She's like, yeah. And I said, hey, do you hear love? And her husband looked at me and like went, oh. And she's like, no. And he says, I swear, I tell her every day. And she's like, yeah, but I don't believe it. And I said, well, this is your opportunity to choose to believe it. You need to choose to receive. You see what I mean? So, you know, we have the power to block it. And I'm like, okay, if you want to feel better, you might want to change that. Jamie?
I've actually, there was this one mum who asked me why her daughter kept getting earaches and stuff. And I asked that same question, like, does you know she hear that she's loved and everything? And the mum was like, yeah, I tell her I love her so much all the time. And I thought maybe that's not it. And I asked her, oh, do you and your husband argue in front of her? And then she's like, oh yeah, we do. So I think that issue with the ears was like not wanting to hear that her parents like didn't love each other, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. And also my friend, she says, has a nephew and he always has earaches. And, you know, I said, hey, do you think he hears love? Right? And she's like, I don't know. But the parents always tells him he's a naughty boy. And I'm like, well, there you go. If you're a naughty boy, then, you know, maybe he interprets it as I'm not lovable. Okay, so these are clues You just need to apply it as well as you can. All right. So I just wanted to just give you a brief overview of this. That's all. Yeah, you can just study this and understand it in your own time. Okay. So there you go. Well, I'm going to stop the recording. So if anybody here want to talk off the record, you're welcome to. Thank you so much for joining our recording. If you want to learn more, go to my website. Okay.